Hello everyone, welcome once again. I'm Felix Awere. Uh, Today I'm gonna be taking you through Express.js. The last time we were here, we learned about Node.js, and whatever we are going to do, we are going to build up using Express.js. So what is Express.js? Express is a fast, assertive, essential, and moderate web framework for Node.js that we can assume it as a layer built on top of Node.js that helps to manage the server and the routes. So why would we choose Express.js? First of all, it is ultra fast. It is asynchronous and single-threaded, and it has the model view controller-like structure with a robust API, which makes routing easy. So we are going to set up our environment for Express. So again, if you're following through, we need to have Node.js installed. I showed that in our last lecture, so I'm just going to share my screen. Uh-huh. So there we are. So I will open my terminal. Uh, then once I open my terminal, I'm just gonna cd to desktop. So I'll do cd desktop, and then I'm gonna make a new project. Let's call it Express class. Good. So I'll cd inside, and then I'm just gonna do npm init. So here, since I need everything default, I'll just press enter like that. Then I would open Visual Studio Code inside the folder to have something like that. So after that, you're going to trust the authors, and then we are gonna begin. So that's our VS Code. So my question is that how does Express.js look like? So an Express.js code basically looks like this. So here I would create an index.js file, and then I hope you can see my screen. So so I hope you can see my screen. So I'll just enlarge it a little bit. Okay, that looks better. So an Express code looks like this. So this is a simple Express code. Is equal to require Express. So once we have something like that, just a moment. So then I'll do var app is equal to express. We're basically calling that function. So we just want a simple function to just get the index root. So I'll do app.get a stroke, and then with the callback function of a request and a response. This function is gonna have a response that's sent. Just a minute. Hello. Yes. Niko ndani. Okay. Sorry for that. So res.send Then we'll do welcome to, okay, sorry about the spelling. Welcome to Express, like that. So we'll again create just a server. Our server is equal to app, sorry, app.listen, maybe a port of 8000 and a function. Okay, there we go. Our host is equal to server address dot address, and our port equal to server dot address dot port. So once we have that, we're just gonna console.log server is listening at port, and then we can just concatenate and do a port. So this is how a structure of an Express.js file might look like, but we realize that we have not yet installed Express. So for us to install Express, we're just gonna do a control terminal over there, and then we're just gonna say npm install Express. So when I press enter, it's not really gonna take a lot of time. So basically, if you're following through, okay, there's an error somewhere. What's the error? Your cache folder contains root own files. Previous versions, okay. Let me see. Let me see where I'm working through. PWD. Oh, really? Okay. Let's try again. Express. See what's will happen there. Good, nice. So once Express is there, we're just gonna see if it is going to run. For it to run, I'll just do node index, and there we go. It tells me server listening at port 8000. When I come back to my browser and I open port localhost 8000, it's basically gonna welcome me with the welcome to Express. So yeah, I'm also gonna show you how you can test these APIs from Node.js using an application known as Postman. So Postman is basically an application that we majorly use to test our APIs. So moving on, we have some libraries that we could use in Express. For example, the body parser. So we have the body parser, the cookie parser, and the Malta, which we are gonna talk about, and then we are also gonna try to build a simple crude API and test it using our Postman. So moving on to Express.js request. So I'm just gonna create a folder. Let me arrange my work nicely. Request. So I'm just gonna create a index.js there. Let me just do request trial.js, something like that. So a request object in Node.js are parameters of the callback function, which are normally used in the Express applications. So basically, The request represents the HTTP request, and it has properties. For instance, the string, parameters, body, headers, and so on. So we would look at some of them. We look at some of them. For instance, when we are writing, so I'll just do for instance something like this: express is equal to require uh, express, then var app is equals to express, like that. So this app is just gonna get maybe the root function. Do a comma here. That function request and a response. So basically, these are parameters. You could give them any name, but wherever the compiler would read, it will know that this is the request part, this is the response part. When we look at our first program that we just wrote in Node.js, we realize that it just had we only interacted with the response part. Why? It's because request parts, it's normally coming from most probably uh, the client side. It's the client who initiates the request for the server to initiate the response. We do have a couple of properties. For instance, under these requests, we could have something like request.app, which you're gonna look at when we start dealing with the forms later in the lesson. We have request.base URL. We have request.body. We have request.cookies, request.fresh, and so forth. So I'm just gonna explain them one by one. So we're starting with request.app. Request.app is normally used to hold a reference to the instance of the Express application that is using the middleware. So basically, that's the function of the request app. And then we have the base URL. Base URL, just as the name goes, it just specifies the URL path on which the routing instance was mounted. And then we have the most interesting one, which is the body, which contains the key value pairs of data submitted in the request body by default. It is undefined by default, and it is populated when you use the body parsing middleware such as the body parser, which we are going to look at. And then we have the fourth one to be request.cookies. So I mentioned something known as the cookie parser when we were starting the lecture. So the cookie parser middleware is an object that contains cookies that have been sent by either a request. And then we have forgetting this was refresh. So request.fresh specifies that the request is fresh and it is opposite to the request tail. So we also have some like hostname, which just contains the hostname of the HTTP header. We have the IP address and so on and so forth. There are so many. So moving on, we are gonna look at now the response object. So I'm just gonna create a new folder here, response trial.js. So once we have that, what does a response trial do? It sends a request back to the client browser, exactly. And so I'll just write a comment there. It sends a request back to the client browser. So we have the We have the second one whereby it facilitates you to put new values that will write the current browser. So facilitates the client to put in new cookies values that will write to the client browser. Yeah, and then we have the third one whereby once you use the response.send or response.redirect or response.render, you cannot redo it again. It is something that is done once. So we have some properties. So I'm just gonna import again. So let me just do it here, and then when I'm done, I'll be copying it to the other side. So let me just comment this, and most probably store it there. Sorry about that. We'll come back to it. So let me comment it. Good. So we're gonna start here with the app dot user. What are we gonna do? Request response, right? Okay, sorry about that. Not app.use, but app.get. All right, app.get. We have something like that, and then function request response, something like that. So you find out that what I'm just going to do is just that I'm just going to be consoling them. I'm just going to be consoling them, and we are going to be getting the values, right? So for instance, I've not finished writing this, so I'll just create the server here. But server is equal to app.listen 8000, and function request response. Once you do that, so let's just do some port. Var port equal to server address port. All right, so this is what's gonna be happening. So I'm just gonna be sending them one by one, starting from res.app, and see the properties it holds. So I'll just do console.log response.app. See what these carries. So when I just open my terminal again and try to run this, and there we go. So when I come to my browser and I reload this, of course it will reload. I'll see nothing because I didn't put anything. But when we come to our console here, we found out that it is giving us some huge object functionality. We have the path, enable, disable. We come down here, we have the settings, mouth path, everything. So we can also look at a property known as a header sent. So a header sent is basically a Boolean property that indicates if the app sent HTTP headers for the response. So I'm just gonna comment this. Look at header sent. So again, if I console.log res.header sent, then I am expecting to get something very exciting. So I would turn off this and run it again. So you find out that if I refresh this browser once again, okay, that is because we have an error here, like that. So let me just end this and start again. So we have it. When we try to reload our browser here, we find out that when we come back to our console, we get something to do with the undefined. I don't know why it is bringing undefined. Let me look at it keenly. Oh, it is header sent. Sorry about that. Header sent. So, well, I could also. Okay, fine. So let me just do the terminal, end it, start again, come back and refresh for the last time. And if we refresh for the last time, we find out that there is actually there is no header that has been sent because we are still dealing with the response. And then we have res.locals, which specifies an object that contains a response local variable scope to the request. So we also have methods. We also have some response methods which I could talk about. So first of all, we could look at something like maybe attachment method whereby we could attach a file name, or we could look at an append method whereby we could append a link. For instance, we could say something like we have maybe press append. There we have press.append, and let me just put this down so that it doesn't confuse you. Press.append. Then we do have the link. So after the link, we have an array as a second parameter, which takes in HTTP localhost. Okay, what's wrong with this thing? Localhost, and then close it that way, and then we do again HTTP localhost 3000, something like this. Localhost 3000. Let me just remove that. Yeah, nice one. So I'm then just gonna append something else, maybe res.append. Then I just say warning. 199, 100. Miscellaneous warning, something like that. So basically, those are the functions of response. So there are kind of too many, as you saw in the object, and I would urge you guys to go and try testing them one by one. So let me just run these, and. So to run it, when I go to the browser, you find out that it will just give you kind of takes its time to load. Okay, as you wait for it to load, you can look at something. So we have the Express.js, the GET request. We do have the GET request. So I'm just going to save this. Not entirely everything, but till here. I'm just gonna save it somewhere under response. Look at it. So we have the index.j. Okay, we have the GET request. So the GET and POST are two common HTTP requests used for building REST APIs, and they are normally used to send only limited amount of data because the data sent into the header, while POST requests are used to send large amount of data because the data is sent in the body. So it can facilitate you to handle both GET and POST requests. So here's where we can now start looking at an example to demonstrate a GET method. So with me, I'm going to create a file here known as index.html. And then I'm just going to be a little bit fast. Then I'll do first name. So I'll do form. So this action is gonna take HTTP 127.0.0.1 8000, and then process get. Then, of course, the method of this form is going to be get. Sorry about that. Get like that. So I like putting it in capital. So once we have that, I'm just gonna do something like first name, and then input type is text, name first name. I'll do the same thing to the next form, but this one is now gonna take last name, and input type text, name is last name. So then we are gonna have a submit button. So under here we just do submit like that. So this form is ready. So in our index.js, we are going to be looking at something like this. Let me just clear this one. So I'll say var express is equal to via express, and then I'll do var app is equals to express like that. So I'll then introduce something known as public. Public is just a folder which I have not yet created, but let me just create it to tell you how it works. Remember, now we are having a HTML file. So this HTML file goes into the public. So I'm just gonna move it there. Then I'll do app.use express.static public. Very nice. So I'll then start writing the get request. So I'll start with this one, app.get. I'll do index.html. Then, because it takes a function with a request and a response like that. So then we're gonna have res.send file. Which file are we sending? We are basically sending the dir name and concatenating it with something like that, and then concatenating it again with now index.html. This way, our HTML file is going to be served like just this. So let us just do that. Then the next thing we're gonna do, we're now gonna make a function that is going to process what we're gonna be sending from the HTML file. How do we do that? Just say app.get, app.get process get. Then this one takes a function also, request and a response like that, and then we're gonna do something like this: response is equal to an object which is gonna do something like first name. Do you know what you're doing? We just want to respond to what we just inputted to. Okay, my English. What we just want to respond to the inputs that we made, in short. So first name, that will take a value of request dot body dot query, dot query dot first name. Since it's an object, let's give it a last name. First name request dot query dot last name, like that. So once we have that, we just want to output it into the console. And then after we have outputted it into the console, we're just gonna res.end JSON stringify response. Something like that. So once you are done here, we create our server. So I just say our server equal to app.listen. Jesus Christ. App.listen. We are listening to port 8000 with the function of that, and I just want the host. The port. For port equal to server dot address dot port. Then I just console.log server running at port server running at port So we have something like that. So it's time to test if what I actually just wrote is working. So just cancel this one, and I will do node index once again. So this time around, you find out that that has loaded, which is great. So let me just try keying in my names, Felix Awere, submit, and boom. You see that? We get, we actually get a JSON response with my first name and my last name. So that is an example of how we could use our get request. Again, if you look at our command, our console, we see that it also wrote it here. So that is an example of a get example in Express.js. So the next thing we're going to be looking at is the post request. So let me just create a folder for a uh, get trial.js, and then I'm going to copy this folder inside there. Once this class is done, I'm gonna avail the link to the repository where you can access these. So the post method, generally, it just facilitates you to send large amounts of data because data is sent in the body, and the post method is normally secure because it is not visible in the URL. Remember when we were starting this, you find out that now this one, our get request is visible in the URL. In the other case of the post request, this data is not going to be visible in the URL. On the other hand, get method could be more efficient and use more than post, but we want to just make an example to now demonstrate a post. Now, we are going to retain this index HTML file. The only thing we are going to change is post there. And under process get, we want to do process post. So once we have done that, we're just going to write our post example. So you remember that middleware that I talked about, which allows us to post data? It is called body parser. So body parser is an Express middleware that allows us to pass data using post methods. So I'm just going to cancel this, what was going on here, and I will install install yarn add body parser, and it's done. So back to index, let us write the code. So I'm just going to, since I already saved it there, I think it's safe for me to do away with that. And let us start writing again. So I'll do var express is equal to require express, and then I'll do var to call the express function, something like that, and then I'll do var body parser is equal to require uh, body parser, great, and then we are going to create something known as an application over the xwww form URL encoded parser, which is something more of like this var URL encoded parser is equal to body parser dot URL encoded, and then we just open that and we say extended. We put it to just false like that. So once you've done that, now we are gonna make sure the app is using it. So we just say app.use. So we want to make sure that Express is calling our index.html file. So we'll use app.use express.static public. So this tells the app to note that anything that is in the public folder should be loaded to the server. So we are gonna start coding app.get index.html, and in case someone in the browser did the index.html, maybe visited the index.html page, this is what should be happening in the server. So we're gonna open the function of request with the response, and then we are going to just send the file and text the deal name, and of course we concatenate it, and we concatenate it again with an index.html, something like that. So when we lock this like that, save. Let's now look at what will happen. Supposing we post our data. So remember here we were using app.get. Now we want to use app.post because it is post that we want to implement this time around. So I'll do app.post, and I'll then do process post to mean that in case a request visits the process post URL, then that is the only time when this function is supposed to run. So I'll just do the URL encoded parser there, and then callback function with a request and a response, and we open this function and we just prepare an output in JSON. So what do I do? Response is equal to something like that. First name, text request.body dot first name, comma, last name, text request dot body dot last name. Nice. And then I'm just gonna console.log this response once again. Response once more. I just want the response like that. So, and once I do that, the last thing I just tell press.end JSON.stringify response like that. So once we have that, we finish by creating our server, which is where server is equal to express, not express but app, sorry, but listen. We wanted to listen to 48,000 function. This time round, I want it to take just the port to be sure is equal to server address port. this one is a function. Yep. And then console.log server port that. Sorry, I was supposed to just print the port. Good. So I'm going to test this, see if it is working. So just do node index. Yep, it's running. Let's go back to our index page. This time around, let's use, okay, no. We now want to submit a post request. Let me just open it in a new URL. Like that. So this one is Felix, this one is Awere. When I submit, it actually tells you the process post URL, outputs to you the JSON data that you just inputted, and of course the same is done to the console. That is because I did the same to the console test against here. So that is how we could send our post data to Express, using Express, sorry. So the next thing we are going to be looking at is routing. We've actually been doing routing all through. So routing is basically made from the word route, and it is used to determine the specific behavior of an application it specifies. So it specifies how an application responds to a client request to a particular route, URI, or path, and a specific request method. So let's take an example of a basic routing. You see the app.get, the app.post, then you see something like this: process post, process get. So those are generally just routings that were being done. So let me just remove this, place it in a post trial.js for referencing, and then let's start again. So I'll just do where express is equal to require express, and then up is equal to express, like that. And then we're just gonna do app dot use, okay, app dot get, sorry. This time around we are doing the get function, request response. When we open this function, we just wanna console log got a get request, but we get request for the home page, like that. And then press send. So this is what will be outputted in the browser. So we'll do welcome to Express. Save that. We also do another route, app.post, something like that. Then we'll do function request response, and then we'll console.log got a post request from the home page. And then we just press send something like I am impossible, like that. And then we have app.delete, app.delete. So these are just routings. Maybe something like delete student. Then what we do? Function first response, and then console.log or delete request, and then send, maybe deleted successfully. And then we do have the fourth one, app.get again, this time, and go student function, request response. Then we do console.log get and control student. And then we're going to do press.send. And control student. And the last one. So let's create our server. Our server is equal to app.listen. So we're listening to port 8000 as usual. Then we create a function. Function is a callback function which takes in port is equal to server.address port console.log port. So that's it. And now let's try to test our routing capability. So this is where I'm just gonna cancel this one and try to open it again. Control C, then do it again. So I'm gonna use my postman. Postman. Then when I do just that, in a get request and click on send, I get a message, welcome to Express. When I look at the console, got a get request for the home page. When I just change this one to post and now try to do the send, it tells me I am impossible, and it consoles got a post request from the home page. If I try to do delete and then I do this URL text in their student there, then what does that mean? When I press sending, it writes delete successfully, and here it tells me got a delete request. I mean a delete request, and then we can look at maybe the enroll student is another get request. So when I do enroll student and we click on the send, it tells me I'm an enrolled student, and here I say the console says got a get response from an enrolled student. So that is basically the routing functionality of Express.js working under the hood. So it allows you to run specific functions depending on the routes that you are giving it at a specific time. Then the next thing that we are going to look at are cookies. So what are cookies, and what do we use them for? So basically, we could use a cookie to maybe uh, define a route. We could use it maybe to manage our authentications. So it's also a middleware. So we have a middleware that we use to manage our cookie known as the cookie parser. So I'm going to install the cookie parser, npm install, npm is install cookie parser like that. Good. So once I've installed it, let me just copy this previous code and create for it a file. So I'll just do routing file.js. Save it there. Nice. Go with this. So I'll just save where express is equal to require express, and then var app equal to express, and then just before the app var cookie parser equal to require cookie parser like that. So we want to make sure our app is using it, or just do use cookie parser, and you're good to go. So to define a route, we can just define a route and set a new cookie. How do we do that? App get cookie. Sorry, app.get cookie function, callback function, and then res.cookie. We have cookie name, and then cookie value like that, and then sorry about that, and then cookie is sent. Good. So that is the first one on creating the cookie, and then now we just want to see the cookie that we created. We just do another update get. Uh, okay, just the index function equals response. Then sol.log cookies cookies and make that cookies like that. So save it, and then I'll just bring in the code for creating server down there to save time, and yeah, we're good to go. So let me just try running it, and yeah, so when I go to my Postman and do cookie, I get something like cookie is sent. And when I just do a root now to view my cookie, uh, what is happening there? Okay, yeah, so it is basically consoling it, cookie name, cookie value, just the way we directed it at the console. So the browser sends back that cookie to the server every time when it requests that website. So the next thing we are going to be looking at is file upload. File upload. So what is file upload? So in Express.js, normally file upload is slightly difficult because it is in a asynchronous nature and in a networking approach. So it can be done using a middleware to handle multi-part stroke form data. And we do have middlewares like Malta, Connect, Body Parser, etc. So let us do an example to demonstrate a file upload. So first of all, I'm just gonna create another folder here, a very beautiful folder known as uploads, like that. You see it's very beautiful. And then once we've done that, we are going to just write something here, just quickly. Uh, in our index.html page, we are going to just do a simple file upload form. So I'll give it form ID. Form ID is equal to upload form, like that. And type is equal to multipart over form data. That's then action where it is going. Let me just do this one. File upload. File upload. Like that. So once you have everything set up, I'm just gonna do input type. Now let me just replace these one of them, maybe 5 the name of my file like that. So input type submit. Good. So once we have something like that, let's go to the server.js. So we are going to install a middleware known as Malta. So to install Malta, and this and just do npm Malta like that. So as Malta installs, nice. So I'll come here and I will just do save these. These was cookies, so I'll just do cookies trial.js like that. So we continue. Let us yes, let's do this. So how are we gonna start? Where express is equal to require express, and then alter via alter, and then express, and then storage is equal to marker disk storage, marker dot disk storage. Do that like that. Destination will take a function. This function is gonna take a request, a file, and a callback. So callback will then take in a parameter of a null because you don't need to input anything there, and then reference it to the directory we want the files to go, which is the uploads. So once you have that, we are gonna do something like this, and then we say file name function request file callback like that, callback null callback. Sorry about that.
It's all good.
File original name like that. So let's save it, and yeah, so basically what this function does, it redirects you to where the file is gonna be uploaded, and then this other function here is just used to pass the file name. So we'll get out of that storage and then do another variable here, upload is equal to Malta storage, uh, just like that, storage, and then dot single my file. Then once we do that, you can now upload it. Upload get uh, just a stroke function request response. What do we have here? Send send file. Give name plus index.html. All right. So index.html. Once you have that, we are good to go. Let's now do our upload logic. Sorry about that. Upload post. Upload derivative point. Then do function. Press. And then upload request. Upload request response function, just as we define them on top there. So the parameter here is just an error. So if in any case we have an error, then error correction mechanisms must occur. So just return uploading file, and then otherwise good. So once we have that, you can just update listen app.listen to 8000, sorry. Console.log server is running at port 2000, like that. So I save that file like that. So after saving that file like that, we can try to just run our file and verify if everything is in good shape. This was for 8000. Good. So I'm just going to reload these so that we can find out. Make sure no set file or directory. Okay, where is the error? App.get there's one function. Field name, yes, index. Oh, something we forgot to do. It's something we most definitely forgot to do somewhere. Let me see. Yeah, we forgot to use these app.ui You're welcome. All right, sorry, let's continue. I had some internet problems. So, uh, so we were talking about some middlewares. We've already looked at most of them. We can just say a middleware is a different type of function that is invoked by Express routing layer before the final request handler has been made. So looking at files like Malta, we had another one like cookie parser, body parser. Those are some examples of middlewares, and we are gonna be looking at them. Then so yeah, that is those are all the basics of Express.js. So we are going to be building a simple CRUD application using Express. So let me just copy this. Control A, Control C. Then we paste it there. So this application is going to be kind of writing to a file, uh, uploading, I mean updating, sending a GET request, and of course deleting an object from a file. So it's basically a simple CRUD application that deals with the manipulation of data concerning students. So let me just open a new file over there, and then we're going to use our Postman to test whether it was working correctly. So we start here, Control A, const express is equal to require express, and then we can do const body parser. So okay, is equal to require body parser. Then we do have const fs is equal to require fs, like that. So once you do have that, I'm just gonna do an app initialization. Const app is equal to express, and then app.use express. Yes. No. App.use bodyparser.json, like that. Okay, let's continue. Uh, so first of all, we're going to get all the students. So I'll just do app.get. Okay, students, like that. And then I'll do a request and a response. Then, oh, right. I'll do fs retrieve file. Um, students.json. So let me just create that file here. Okay, new file, students.json. Nice one. Then we go to our index.html, utf8. Student.json, utf8, utf8. And then we do have error, a callback function that gives an error and data, like that. So if we have an error, then raise the status 500 dot send error reading file. So save that. You guys didn't tell me I wasn't sharing my screen. Error reading file. Uh, else const students is equal to JSON the parse data, and then I just do response.send students. We're good to go. Save that file. We go to the next one, which is app.get students, and then a parameter string. App.get students. Then parameter string overall number. We will take request, the response, which are basically some method. For the first time, let me make it an arrow function which takes in those parameters, and we're gonna read file like that. Then students.json, JSON, that way, utf8, then function data error if we have an error, and then actually it's the other way around. We start with the error first of all, and then we do the data like that. Then what we're going to be working on is okay. Yeah, so once you've done that, if we have an error, then we just want to say console.log error reading file. Else, we want to make sure students is equal to json.parse data, and then our student is equal to students. Now this is an array function in JavaScript to find a student whose roll number equals the roll number we are looking for. In this case, we'll take an arrow function like that, s.roll. S.roll is equal to parse int request.params.roll. Oh, nice. rec.params.roll. Nice, 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 nice. So if we get a student, then response.send student. Like that. So else, we just want to res.status. Then we do something for send student not found, just like that. So once we do that, we can now create a function to add a new student. So to add a new student, I just do app.post students. Then do a break response and an fs.read file students.json. Nice. Then utf8 format, and then we have the callback function, whether an error or a data. Then of course, once we have that, we can just say if we have an error, then we just console the log. Some error occurred. Then we send error 500. Status 500. Let's send some error occurred in the server, and once we do that, else so we have const students is equal to JSON parse data. Then what do we do? Student, if index is not equal to -1, index, okay. const new student is equal to rec.body. Sorry. Is equal to request.body. Um, students.push push new student, and then we have okay, let's continue. Students.push new student. Uh-huh. fs.write file system.write file students.json student.json. Then we have a comma. We want to stringify what we do have here. JSON.stringify students, like that. And then we do have, if we have an error, we make a function out of it, and we just want to send a status of 500 dot send. Now do we do error writing to file? There we go. And else dot send new student. So until there, we want to test if our code application is working, and then see if we can debug some errors. So before I even continue, I want to create the server. To create the server, I will just create a listening port of 8000 app.listen 8000. Then a callback function, which just says console.log server is running at port 8000. Save that, and let's see if it is working. If it is not working, we start debugging right away. So we do have that. Let's test it here. All right, looks to be working, but I'm more interested with the students part. Students. Let's see. In console, what happened? Unexpected end of JSON input. So in that case, I would just want to start this with something like that and see how it's gonna behave. Let's try and test it again. Nice. So it is working. So let's test if we can add a student. So to add a student, what data do we need in adding a student? In this case, we need we do need, just a moment. Yeah, so we just want the roll number. Const student is equal to that. student, or post. There we go. So we just want to add anything. So we can do a key, maybe student name. Let's start with role. We do maybe one name, maybe Felix, course, maybe CCS. Let's try sending these. They should be under body, not there. Key name. Let me just delete these ones. Delete that one. So we start with role. Role, we give it a value of 1. Key name, we give him Felix. And then course, we give him computer science. Like that. So when I click on the send button, it gives me some error. Let me view it under the console. It says push is not a function. Why is that? Oh, I get. It's misinterpreting that. Let's use an array. So I guess an array is always there. So let's try again. This time round, it was successful. I don't know whether something was written, but yes, something was written in the file. The only issue is that actually it was nothing at the end of the day. Let me try fixing that error once again, see where the problem could be. So we do have, okay, let's look at here, request.body. So maybe we need something like new student is equal to request.body. We have role, name. Let's try again this time around as a post. Let's see. So let me just try hard coding it here. Role, one, name, student, course, CCS. So if I click on that, okay, what could be the issue? Let me visit my GitHub account and pull in that code base. We do have something like maybe later. So we do have under my repositories. I decided to pull it where it wasn't needed, so I can just get in, copy the raw file, and make the debug there, save, and try again. So this time round, we send. Uh, okay, this is 3000. Uh, I don't know why it is not writing to the file, but yeah, something is writing, yes, but most probably not not the file you are looking for. It does. So we can, so yeah, so basically that is the logic. I think I'm gonna debug this and see for sure what is going on. So meanwhile, I don't want to keep you guys waiting in the class. So I think I have to end it from there. And yeah, it was nice. It was nice having you in. Apart from that, I can see some question here. Mhm. Abrar Shakil Ahmed is asking, was how can I, okay, how can learn money be a web dev? I didn't quite get that. Jack, are you in the session? Hello? Okay, maybe you're trying to say maybe you want to talk about earning money as a web dev. Yeah, there are various platforms to earn money as a web dev. You could do freelancing, you could get employed, or maybe you could get the skills first of all, create a nice portfolio, and yeah, if you are you want to become your own boss, you could check in some freelancing platforms like Upwork.com or Freelancer, or you could liaise with a face-to-face client. In that case, you can be able to earn as a web developer. There are also platforms like Decade, Decade.org. I'm not promoting anything, just so Decade.org makes you learn. At the end of the day, if you do if you do a test and pass, that is, if you build a project to show that you've learned, you get 14 out of 20. That is 70%. You're gonna be able to earn something from the team. Yeah, also there are a lot of platforms out there that could give you money when you contribute to open source projects. So yeah, there are various ways you can earn as a web developer. So that's all. Thank you once more for attending, and I think it would be great if I ended the stream right now. It was nice having your time, and until we meet again next time. Thank you.